All right, rock and roll. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast. I'm your host, John. And if you could kindly hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. And this is the place where we welcome sinner and saint, friend and foe. Everybody's welcome, even the trolls. Go ahead and leave those comments. I love responding to them each and every day. And we usually start out, we're getting new subscribers every day, and usually we start out with a little story from the streets, a little thing maybe from my life to kind of ease into the dark stuff that is the current slate of news. And like I've said a million times before, I don't want to get too redundant. Hey, look at all these people in the background. It seems like I go to my parents' house every day, and we seem to have found this ritual where I go over there and take out the trash, do a little cleaning, and I do the dishes every day. And I get there, and the dishes are stacked up. It's like the Long Beach port. There's containers on containers on containers. It's literally, I don't even know how my mom at 5'4" can literally stack dishes 8 foot. I mean, they must get a ladder or something. But move on. So I get to the kitchen and I start cleaning the dishes, and they have things, and I don't understand because I clean it once a day. They have things that literally have been baked into it, into a pot, into a dish, whatever. And I ask my mom every week, I say, if you have something like this, could you at least put some water in there to soften it up so I can get it before I put it in the dishwasher? And she says, oh, okay. And they never do, right? So I asked my mom the other day, I said, why could we just put a little water in some of these things that may be a little hard for me to scrape and extricate before I put it in the dishwasher? And she says, don't worry about it. The dishwasher will get it. All right. So I put it in the dishwasher and it comes out, and you already know this. It doesn't come out clean. And of course, because it's went through the heat cycle, it's actually baked in a little deeper, right? So now you got to get the Brillo pad out, and then you got to go through the whole process again. So I said that 3 days ago. Then 2 days ago, I said, Mom, can you put a little water? Don't worry, the dishwasher will get it. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So we go through the same little song and dance, and comes out, whoa, look at this. It's all baked in again. Get out the Brillo pad. Really, this is what caused my elbow injury. It wasn't 30 years of construction. It was cleaning their dishes. So today I get over there, same thing. Same thing. And what do I hear when I bring it up with my mom? She goes, don't worry about the dishwasher will get it. And then it dawns on me. She's not talking about the machine that's the dishwasher. She's talking about me. I'm the dishwasher. We got dishwasher 1 and we got dishwasher 2. All right. You're right, Mom. I stand corrected. The dishwasher will get it clean. All right. Welcome one. Welcome all. We're taking no prisoners, telling no lies. Let's get into some of the news stories that are going on. And we keep hearing a lot about the tariffs, so I think we're kind of a little numb to it, but I think the reality is going to start hitting very, very quickly here. Millions of Americans on e-commerce, I mean, that obviously is the biggest growth we've seen for any industry really in our lifetime, have flocked to the Chinese e-commerce sites, especially Temu and Shine. And because they are cheaper than Amazon, I guess. That is what I was reading in all the subreddits and everything like that. Well, Chinese e-commerce sites have skyrocketed from a little over 5.3 billion in sales in 2018 to over $66 billion in 2023, the last year for statistics, right? I mean, wow, that's almost 10 times in 6 years. That's insane, right? But here's the caveat. They have tariff exemptions. So any order under $800, there's no tariffs. Well, that expires on May 2nd. Uh-oh, welcome to the real world. Now, these things don't exist. Well, Shazam, now the tariffs are going to be the 145% plus possibly another 25%. And everybody that I saw on the Temu and Shine websites was aghast. They were saying, we can't afford it. We can't afford to buy American. Hey, why did you vote for Trump? If that's what your thing is, And also, Trump is the one who made the original deal in 2017 to allow this mini exemption, right? So last Friday, Temu and they're raised a myriad of prices on tons of items ahead of the new tariff. So basically, to explain that in English, I can't even read my own writing sometimes, is a week ahead of when the prices were going to go up, they actually raised them. I mean, I guess it's just to get us a little used to the effing that we're about to get, right? Oh, people did not take well to it. 85% response in the comment section on both of these sites was incredibly negative, right? So, for example, a Temu cabinet that last Thursday was $56 is now 82. Ooh, that's quite a bit. That's over 50%. UCLA and Yale economists tracked data, and 48% of Chinese e-commerce sites went to the poorest zip codes, the bottom 25% zip codes in the United States, while only 22% of these same sites' goods went to the top 20% of zip codes. I can tell you this, you're looking at that lake in the background, I'm not in the top 20%. I'm right in the bottom 25, right? So this obviously indicates that the tariffs are going to hit the poor the hardest. And let's be honest, too, in this country, nobody cares about the poor. They really don't. They say they do, but you know what? They just want to get them out of sight, out of mind, right? And these people, a dollar means a lot more to them than it does to the rich people. Forget that effing stupid Ronald Reagan trickle down theory. That's just a crock of crap. Straight up. That's what rich people do so they can decide that they're going to be evil and inhumane to the poor, right? Let's call it what it is. So these sites are obviously biting into Amazon and American e-commerce. Well, you know, you wonder when Jeff Bezos got that call the other day from Donald Trump about not putting the tariff price next to Amazon items, if maybe this was, hey, make sure you keep those tariffs on so I can get back market share. Just saying, you know, God forbid a rich guy is trying to increase his market share, right? But I will say this for people like Amazon is they do, for the most part, with their American sellers, have to abide by stricter environmental standards and worker safety rights and health rights than their Chinese compadres do. Now, obviously on Amazon, there is quite a few Chinese sellers, but they also go to Temu and Shine and sell for a lot less. So this actually hurts Amazon. Hey, we're only going to make 60 billion this year, okay? Brothers got to eat. Brothers got to eat. That's all I'm saying. So it should be interesting to see what happens in the e-commerce world on May 2nd, May 3rd. I wonder if they're going to get an exemption this weekend, because that is really what's going on here is the big guys, the Apples, the Amazons, they are figuring a way with their lobbyists, with their access because of giving money to the inauguration, of getting to the president and getting them exemptions. The poor guy, the average business can't. Those are the ones who are going to get crushed. And I mean, they are going to get wiped out in a way we have not even seen. I saw a statistic today that 62% of container ships that normally travel from China to America have not sailed in the last 3 weeks. Let's see when that starts to hit us in the shelves. Probably around the third week of May. We shall see, right? All right, let's talk about some odd things in the news. And the FBI, which isn't exactly a bastion of liberal theology, has reassigned and in some cases demoted agents who kneeled with demonstrators in 2020 over the protesting of the killing of George Floyd. Now, Donald Trump was president then. He didn't do anything to these FBI agents. That really goes to show you the difference between the first Trump administration and the current one is now we're on the vengeance tour. We are exacting, like he told his supporters in the campaign, I will be your vengeance. Well, he is, right? And they think that these agents kneeling in honor of somebody who was killed is just over the line. He calls that woke policies. You know what I call it? Honoring somebody who was murdered. Derek Chauvin, the Minnesota Minneapolis policeman, was convicted of murder in a court of law. And in case anybody forgets how that all works, that's the same kind of court where Donald Trump was convicted 43 times of business felonies. Oops. Maybe that's why we want to kind of forget it, right? At the end of the day, to me, they were honoring somebody who was murdered. What's woke in that? At the end of the day, that man who cried out mama with his last dying breath was murdered right in front of our eyes on social media. and we take a kneel to respect that man? Don't we do that for fallen warriors? And I am not in any way, shape, or form comparing him to military or police officers or firefighters or first responders. But this man was murdered in front of our eyes. How is that woke? To me, that's just law and order. And I thought this is the president and the administration of law and order. Obviously, I was incorrect. All right, we got a couple more things in the news before we go. Look at that beautiful lake behind me. God, you need to like and subscribe for more content, that's for sure. So Trump, for his 100-day rally to, adorn the king, to praise the king, went to Michigan. And Gretchen Whitmer, who's the Democratic governor of Michigan, was there on the tarmac to greet him when he got off Air Force One. Oh boy, big hug, yo man, you're the greatest, you're the greatest. Obviously, she had a Big Mac, chocolate shake, a couple shots of Ozempic, or Moderna, and it's not really working, Mr. President. And she was lauded so much by him that she actually got to be in the motorcade going to the rally. Now, she didn't show her face at the rally, but she was there in the backstop. And I wonder at the end of the day if people like herself, she is in a bad situation. I'm going to say this. She is trying to get money from the federal government to the state of Michigan. I understand that. Just like Governor Newsom walked with Trump after the LA wildfires. And Trump is petty. He is like a petulant child. He is like Rumpelstiltskin. And if you say something publicly that he doesn't like, he will cut off money. But at some point, don't you stand for something? Like Chuck Schumer and Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. Two of those three were talking about potential 2028 presidential candidates from the party. Don't you understand the optics? Don't you understand that people like myself and people who listen to this podcast are pissed because the Democrats aren't doing anything? We're not standing up to them. Trump's presidential ratings are in the toilet. The Democratic Party as a whole is 20 points lower. 20 points lower. We're hovering in the mid-20s. He's in the mid-40s. Doesn't that tell you something? At some point, show some leadership. Show some goddamn balls. Fight for something. Don't capitulate like Chuck Schumer did with the budget. And, like I said, she's in a bad situation, right? She wants to help her fellow Michiganders. But at the end of the day, I think your Michiganders also want you to stand up for something. Understand this. There's Republicans in that state who also want to get reelected. That's all I'm saying. And finally in the news, we're going to talk about my favorite flamboyant in-the-closet senator. That would be Mr. Lindsey Graham, senator from South Carolina. And he floated the idea this week on X of Trump possibly being the next pope. Yeah, because that's what we need. Another serial pedophile / adulterer / predator in the Vatican. Yeah, always room for one more at that table. There's plenty of seats there, right? He said ahead of the May 7th conclave, I was excited, and it's really great, Lindsay, for you get excited about something else besides cruising West Hollywood in the pool area for half-naked men models. He said that President Trump is open to the idea of being the next pope. Who brought that idea up? Maybe they said he poked. I don't know. So he continued. But I would ask the papal conclave and Catholic faithful to keep an open mind about the possibility of him being pope. I'm a fallen Catholic, but I don't know anybody who was asking for that. Hey, nothing better than having somebody convicted of 43 felonies to be elected pope, or maybe it could be like Roger Mahoney, the disgraced, let's call him disgraced former cardinal of Los Angeles, who covered up quite a bit of abuse in the parish and the diocese, who actually got to seal up the coffin of this great pope who laid to rest last Friday. I am amazed, though, at the end of the day, that Lindsay was able to actually type this post, because it must be really dark and incredibly tight to be able to type with your phone when your head is so far up Donald Trump's ass. Man, that must be something else. You are a talented man, Lindsay. And believe me, you know all about being in asses. All right, that's it for today. If you could, hit the like and subscribe button, leave some comments, and we'll see you soon on Scorched Earth.